Someone asked me to tell this story from my other post about my house's corner peeping ghosts. I suffer from occasional sleep paralysis. When this happens, I wake up from what is usually a nightmare. Sometimes there is no nightmare, but can't open my eyes or move except to scream a muffled groan. I also feel an immense weight or pressure on my chest, like some people describe as something holding them down. This goes on for a few minutes until I can either snap out of it or my girlfriend rushes over to me to soothe and gently wake me up. This has happened a number of times over the years, but a couple instances in particular stand out. So, I was having an episode of sleep paralysis, but this night it happened twice, back to back. So I had just fallen asleep not 30 minutes when suddenly my head started to buzz and vibrate. It also got very cold in this instance. Like other episodes, I couldn't move, but this time I could open my eyes. However, I couldn't see. It was like what some visually impaired people describe as only being able to see out of their peripheral vision. It was just a blackness in the main view of my vision, paired with this headache-inducing vibration of my skull, with the sound of a booming, low-frequency humming, not a whole unlike when you hear the deep bass hits in the music of a movie, Inception, but just one note very low and a loud note. It was very terrifying because it never happened like this before. Finally, I managed to wake up, get some water, tell my girlfriend about it, and attempted to sleep again. But it happened again. Same blindness, same humming, same symptoms. My girlfriend then had to shake me out of it this time. Needless to say, I wasn't able to go back to sleep until the following night out of exhaustion. The other incident was a night terror, where I was hunted by a demon or witch. I felt sharp, long piercings into my chest, but I couldn't wake up out of it, and I felt the pain of being impaled. But that's a story for another time. I was peacefully asleep, dreaming of fluffy kittens and flying with ravens, when I felt something flick my nose. This was strange because I always sleep with the blanket pulled over my head. The blanket wasn't moved, which was odd, but I brushed it off as a weird dream. As I was about to close my eyes, the blood in my ears roared so loud I could barely hear anything else, and my heartbeat was unnaturally fast and just as loud as the roaring. I could feel every blood vessel in my body. The feeling was like they were firm balloons, and my head swam as I sensed something standing in front of me. Adrenaline and fear flew through my system like a riderless skateboard flying down a steep ramp, but I didn't move. I didn't scream. I didn't breathe. I couldn't. Even thinking was like swimming through thick syrup. It was as if I had been hit by a train of something I can only describe as pure energy. As it slowly dawned on me that I may not live to see another day, I heard my mother's voice calling me. Something told me that it wasn't her. It didn't have any warmth to it, and it was weird for her to call me before she knew I was awake. So I stayed still and silent, the blood still roaring and my heart going so fast that I thought it might explode. I heard this thing shift and step on a crinkly candy wrapper. Then I sensed it slowly reach out a limb as if it were going to grab my foot. It must have decided against it because I'm still here writing this. But it kept its arm outstretched, its stature frozen completely, as if we were mimicking my unmoving state. By now the roaring had stopped, but I still sensed the being there, so I didn't move. I slowly reached for the pocket knife I had clipped to my pants. Thank goodness I had forgotten to unclip it and put it away, because although it was small, it was very, very sharp. I flipped it open and slowly reached for the end of my blanket. I ripped it off and slashed the air with ferocity of a tiger, but there was nothing there. But over the past couple months, things have been happening more and more often. Me, 19 male, and my little brother, 13 male have been having crazy lucid dreams, and they're connected. I'll get into that later. But that's not what I'm concerned about at the moment. Sounds crazy, but I can see spirits and other things. Only for a second, I can catch a glimpse of something. Mainly eyes, red, blue, gray, black. Here recently, without a trigger that I know of, I have noticed a highly increased amount of paranormal activity, such as pot lids being thrown, knocking and banging, giggling and whistling. The list can go on forever. I live in a full house of people, but it isn't them. We've seen the ghost as well. I've counted about 6. And to make matters worse, we have a huge graveyard literally in our backyard. I know. I don't know what to do. They're tormenting me and my brother, and I have been seeing and hearing them more and more. Just an hour ago, my room was surrounded, and they were banging on the wall and whistling. I live in the basement, and me and my brothers, we're the only ones on this floor. I'm unsure on what to do. I'm thinking of going and getting holy water and crosses, the whole shebang. Believe me if you want to or don't. It's your call. But I need help. Either way. I've experienced so much spiritual, paranormal stuff in my life. Younger years, I would sleepwalk out of my bedroom and into the den in the middle of the night and could see my mom, something that made itself look like my mom, at the kitchen table with a candle lit in front of her, looking dead ahead, no movement, nothing. I snapped out of it and was so freaked out I couldn't go back to sleep alone. Next case was I was sleeping in bed and I was in the middle of a dream where I was watching baseball and or hearing baseball crowd and could feel 2 fingers walking across my shoulder, like when you use your fingers to make it look like a person walking. Woke fully up and there was nobody there. Middle day nap. Definitely not part of my dream. College era. Saw about 3 paranormal demonic entities on separate occasions. One was kneeled down next to my bed that resembled a woman I was in college with, except that she had a shiny glossy face, almost like a porcelain doll, and was murmuring something but eventually disappeared. Second one resembled my grandmother with her back turned and then turned to face me. And then the third one was a shadow person, about halfway through the floor in front of my closet in the middle of the night, and was definitely a darker shadow than the darkness in my room, because I could make out a body shape and a wide brim hat. Years later, started getting bloody scratches on my back and shoulders that were 3 or 4 claw marks that was like kind of bleeding and would burn when they started to appear. Much of the time, I was awake and during the day or morning or evening. I'm not even touching that part of my body when they would appear. That kept on for years here and there. Most recent years, hearing my name called. Hearing demonic voices, wheeze, laughing, or just saying things. Saw a serpent-like angelic being watching over me that looked like it was thousands of years old. Had someone with a deep voice try to comfort me and even knew my name and placed their hand on my shoulder. Saw myself trying to get back into my body laying on the couch, coming from behind my head after my spirit was being chased by some demonic entity in this alternate shadowy dimly lit dimensions of my same apartment as I was asleep. Also recorded footage of banging and stuff going on in the kitchen as I was asleep, and an audible voice saying, "Hey," near the phone camera, and a visible distortion in the video when that happened. Also, sleepwalked into my bathroom and drew an image of patterns all over the mirror using water from the faucet, and didn't know I had done it until I woke up the next morning. Saw an image of an African American homeless man dancing in front of me one night when I woke up suddenly. So yeah, I've been through some stuff.
redemption, honesty.